Hey everybody, I'm so glad you joined me again. So this tutorial is all about the Beyonce Super Bowl 50 formation makeup look. And there's a lot of debate going on over formation, the song, the video, but one thing that is not up for debate is whether her makeup was slayed when she took that stage at the Super Bowl. And of course it was, thanks to Sir John, who's our makeup artist. I'm gonna recreate that look today. So if you wanna see how to go from this to this, stay tuned. I started by priming my skin, and if you want to see how I do that, you can check out my last video. And now I'm going in with a Derma Blend concealer, which is just slightly lighter than my skin tone because I don't want an extreme highlight for this look. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a flat concealer brush, any one that you have, and you're going to take that underneath your eyes to give it a little bit of brightness. I'm going to take it in the center of my forehead and down my nose as well. And I'm also going to use just a little bit on my chin, and that's just for a little bit of brightening. So now we're going to go in with the contour, and for this I'm going to be using Black Opal Perfecting Powder Makeup in the color number 10, which is Carob, and we're going to be using that same flat concealer brush, and this is just for a very slight contour. So I'm going to take it on the sides of each cheek, kind of where the cheekbone is. I'm going to take it around the top of my face and down the sides of my nose, and just a little bit on the chin too. So as you can see, this is a very light highlight and contour because, again, Beyonce's sort of look as of late is all about sort of natural beauty and not so much of the super highlighted, super contoured look. So that's why we're going in with a very light hand just to kind of brighten and enhance the natural highlights and contours of your face. So now I'm going in with a matte foundation, and I'm using the Makeup Forever Matte Plus foundation. It's my favorite matte foundation, and I'm using this because Sir John, who is Beyonce's makeup artist, said he went with a matte foundation for this look. So if he's doing it, I'm doing it too. And I'm using my Real Technique stippling brush to just stipple that foundation on top of the highlighting and contouring that we did. And then just for the inner corner of my eye, which is hard to reach with the brush, I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger. As you can see, the end result is sort of kind of a barely there foundation. Actually, this would be really great for an everyday foundation routine if you're not into a really highlighted, contoured type look. So this is going to be the base for everything else that we're about to do. So now we want to go ahead and set everything. First, you want to smooth out your concealer, and this is really important because if you set crease concealer, you're going to have creased concealer. And of course, Beyonce does not have crease concealer because she is flawless, and we don't want that either. So I'm using the Real Techniques concealer brush to smooth it on out. And then after that, we want to set the concealer. So for that, I'm using an already dampened Beauty Blender Micro Mini, and then I'm going to give it a few spritzes of Max Fix Plus. Then I'm going to dip that into the RCMA colorless powder, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that everywhere where we put concealer. So under the eyes, on the forehead, and down the bridge of the nose, and on the chin. Then, this is also super important, you want to wipe away the excess because Beyonce does not have flashback, and we don't want flashback either. Just keep thinking during this whole tutorial, what would Beyonce do? And then do exactly that. So after we wipe away the excess, we're going to go back in with that dampened Beauty Blender, give it a couple more spritzes of the MAC Fix Plus, and then we're going to take banana powder on top of those concealed areas. So again, under the eyes, down the bridge of the nose, and on the chin, just to add a little bit of extra brightness. So all this kind of sets and molds in and kind of melts with your skin. We're going to go ahead and do our brows and prime the lids, and then it's time for what I think is the most fun part of this tutorial, and that of course is the eyeshadow, which is such a beautiful look. So now we're going to go ahead and wipe off that extra banana powder since we let it set and kind of melt in really nicely for that little extra boost of brightness. And we're just going to do a little tiny bit of powder contouring. So for this, I'm using my NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette. First, I'm going to go in with the lightest contour shade and an angled blush brush, and I'm just going to take that on the sides of both of my cheeks, around my forehead, and just underneath the jawline. And then after that, I'm just going to give it a little more depth, and I'm going to use the deepest contour shade, and then I'm going to use my Real Techniques contour brush, and I'm going to take that around the top of my hairline, again on the sides of the cheeks, and then I'm going to take a little bit of banana powder on a dry micro mini beauty blender. I'm just gonna use a little bit of that underneath the contour on each cheek just to kind of clean up that contour line and sharpen it up just a little bit. So now we're going to move on to the eyeshadow, and as you remember, we already primed our eyelids when we did our brows, so we're just going to get right into it. And I'm starting off with a taupe color. You can use whatever one you like best. This one I'm using is from Makeup Forever, color ME612, and it's from the 50 Shades of Grey set. And you're just going to use that in the crease, and then you're also going to carry it down to your bottom lash line, and then just blend the corner just a little bit just so you have a nice seamless transition. When we go to the lids, we're going to be using a rust tone eyeshadow because that's what Sir John said he used, and so of course that's what we're going to use. The first one I'm using is from a Lorac palette, and this palette actually doesn't have a name on it, so I'm not sure what the color is, but it's a deep rust tone shadow. I'm just going to pat that on across the entire lid, and then I'm going to go back in and deepen that rust tone shadow with a NYX Ultra Pearl Mania pigment, and this one also doesn't have the shade name on it, so I'm not sure what shade this is, but it's also a rust tone pigment. So that's just really going to intensify that rust color on the lid. And then we're going to go back in because Sir John says he used a copper tone in the center of the lid, and I'm using Penny from the Lorac Makeup Pro 2 palette, and I'm using a flat shadow brush just to pat that onto the center of the lid and blend it out just a teeny tiny bit. You don't want it to go over the rust tone that you use. You just kind of want it to sit in the center. And then I'm just going to go back in again and just add a little bit more of that rust tone to the outer corner and the inner corner just to create a more seamless blend. Then I'm going to take an angled liner brush and just give it a few spritzes of Max Fix Plus, and I'm going to use Saddle from the Lorac Makeup Pro 2 palette, and I'm going to use that as the liner. So I'm just going to give it a nice kind of thin line on the top lash line, and I'm also going to go in and do a thin line on the bottom lash line as well. Now go ahead and apply your mascara, and then I'm going to be using individual lashes because I just feel like they look more natural, and I don't know, I just kind of think for this look that Sir John, who's Beyonce's makeup artist, I don't think he went with a strip lash just because of the way the liner and it looked in pictures, but I could be wrong. So anyhow, that's why I'm going with false lashes that are individual for this look, and you just want to use duo glue. I'm using black because I like having eyelashes and not using that super strong glue that individual lashes come with, and I'm just using a pair of tweezers, and you just want to dip each lash into a little bit of glue, get it a little bit on the knot, and then just go ahead and place it as close to your lash line as possible, and then kind of let them sit there and dry for just a little bit, and you'll get a really nice natural enhanced lash look in the end. Then just go ahead and finish up by using a little bit of mascara to go ahead and get those lashes into formation. See what I did there? Formation. Now we're just going to brush away the excess banana powder that we use to clean up the contour lines on both sides of our cheeks, and then just sweep the translucent powder up just a little bit around all of the powder contouring just so that you have a seamless look. And now we're going to go in with our blush, and I'm using the NYX High Definition Blush in number 07, which is also Tuscan, because Sir John says he went with a peachy kind of pink blush. So that's what I'm using here, and I'm using my Real Techniques blush brush to go ahead and apply that. And now we're just going to finish things up with a little bit of highlight. And for this, you want more of a bronzy glow. That's what Sir John, of course, keyword. I mean, you should take a shot every time I say Sir John. And I mean, make this a little more fun. He said he went with a bronzy highlight. So I'm using a Buxom bronzer. And if you're my complexion, this will give you a really nice golden glow. And this one is Tahiti, the Buxom bronzer in Tahiti. It actually smells really great too. So I'm going to go in with my Sephora fan brush and just use that on the kind of high point of each cheekbone. Then I'm also going to use it down the center of my nose as well. And then I'm just going to go in with a bronzer brush, and I'm just going to take that kind of on the temples and on my chin as well, just to kind of give it a really nice bronzy glow, which is great for kind of the sunset time of day, which of course is when Beyonce was performing at the Super Bowl. So I'm pretty sure Sir John's a smart guy, and that's why he did this. So now we're going to finish things off with the lips. And so we're going to start with lip liner. And for this one, I'm using a NYX lip liner. And this is shade 823 or Earth Tone. And I'm going to use that to outline the outside of my bottom lip and also outline the outside of my top lip. I'm not going to fill them in. I'm just going to outline. Then I'm going to go with a nude sort of natural shade of lipstick. And for this, I'm using Makeup Forever's Rouge Artist Natural in shade N4. And I'm just going to go and dab that onto the lips and blend it in. And now I'm going to take a lip brush and just kind of blend the lip liner and the lipstick together with that lip brush. And so now with the same lip brush, I'm going to dip it into that rust tone pigment we used for the eyeshadow, the NYX rust tone pigment, and dip the lip brush in that. And we're just going to dab it onto the lip and then blend it together just by sort of pressing the lips together to give it that coppery nude lip color that Beyonce had going on at the Super Bowl. So this is the completed look for the Beyonce Formation Super Bowl 50 halftime performance show extravaganza. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and if you did, be sure to subscribe, and also be sure to check out my blog for a full list of products and for other beauty tips, tricks, reviews, and information. See you next time.